We're in the midst of the greatest economic transformation in the history of our country, what experts are calling the fourth industrial revolution. When's the last time you heard a politician say the words fourth industrial revolution?
A minute ago.
2 seconds ago. And I'm barely a politician. Thomas Paine was for it at the founding of our country, called it the citizen's dividend for all Americans. Martin Luther King, whose son I had the privilege of meeting with in Atlanta, fought for this in the 60s, and it is what he was fighting for when he was killed in 1968. It's called a guaranteed minimum income for all Americans. It was so mainstream that 1,000 economists, including Milton Friedman, endorsed it in the 60s, and it passed the U.S. House of Representatives twice in 1971 under Nixon. It was called the Family Assistance Plan. Then 11 years later, one state passed a dividend where now everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked. And what state is that? Alaska. And how does Alaska pay for it? Oil. And what is the oil of the 21st century?
Technology.
Technology, data, AI, software, self-driving cars and trucks. A study just came out that said that our data is now worth more than oil. How many of you saw that? How many of you have access to a Netflix password? There's a documentary called The Great Hack that has that study in it. Our data is now worth more than oil. How many of you got your data check in the mail last month? Now we laugh, but if it's so valuable, if it's getting sold and resold for tens of billions of dollars, where's the money going? We've got some time for a couple questions, so go ahead and raise your hands and we'll do our best to take some. Miss, go ahead, shout out.
So I'm sure you probably already know, Iran is not happy with us right now. If you were elected president, how would you go about remedying the situation in the Middle East and hopefully preventing war?
What's your name?
Laura.
Thank you for the question, Laura. The attack yesterday was a disastrous mistake. It was disproportionate to what we were trying to respond to with Iran, and it's escalating conflict in a region with Iran in a way that the vast majority of Americans want nothing to do with. The last poll I saw said 78% of Americans do not want war with Iran. So if you look at our Constitution, who is meant to be able to declare war? Congress. Act of Congress to declare war. Unfortunately, Congress ceded that authority to the executive branch in 2001 with the AUMF, the Authorization of the Use of Military Force, and now we've been in a constant state of armed conflict for 19 years and counting. As your president, I will pull us back from war with Iran. I will invest in diplomacy and rebuilding our partnerships and alliances. It was James Mattis that said that if you invest more in diplomacy, you have to spend less on ammunition, and that should be our goal. We spent over $1 trillion in Iraq, over $6 trillion in the Middle East, and those resources could have been better used, making us stronger and more whole here at home, and also making us actually safer and more secure. So that is where I would lead. I've signed a pledge to end the forever wars, and I will put the power to declare war back in the hands of Congress where it belongs in the Constitution. What does it stand for?
Make America think harder.
Make America think harder. That's right. That is your job, Iowa. It is your job to take us not left, not right, but forward in 2020.